Hello everyone, this is Abdul from the Department of B.Tech AIDs. And for my AI Immersion task, rather than just showing you a bunch of random AI tools one by one, I wanted to do something more interesting. Which is why I'm going to be taking one product, a smart water bottle named HydroSync, and build it from scratch using 4 different AI tools. Each tool will be covering a different stage of the product lifecycle, including research, design, prototyping, and the final application that goes along with it. So let's start building. The first stage of a product lifecycle is going to be research, and to help with that, I have chosen Elicit as a first tool. It is an AI research assistant that searches through academic papers and automatically pulls out the information we need. It can summarize findings, methodologies, and conclusions across dozens of papers at once. Instead of manually reading through multiple search results, it does that entire process in seconds. And this is going to be helpful for our use case for building the smart water bottle. We need to know what material to use, and this is not easy because we need something food safe and thermally insulating while still being compatible with electronics too. So let's see how Elicit helps. Here is the homepage of Elicit, and right here I have the question which I'm going to ask it. Immediately, Elicit grades our question and also gives us suggestions on what to add to gain better insights from different papers. So I'm going to submit this question now. And immediately, Elicit is going to start working by pulling in academic papers from various sources. Right here, you can see it has pulled from 10 sources along with the citations and the dates with the credits. And here is the summary, it's loading. And here we can see that the total summarized view is that stainless steel is the clear winner. And we are going to go ahead with this for our product. Right here, in edit columns, we can also add suggested columns or custom columns here. I'm going to be choosing food safety data, and here we can see here when I update it, here data relevant to food safety alone is going to be extracted from each paper. Now that we have what we need, let's proceed to our next tool. Stage 2 of a product lifecycle is going to be designing it, and to help with that I have chosen Vizcom. We know what material we are going to be working with, stainless steel. So now we need to visualize what our final product is going to actually look like. I'm going to sketch it out on a piece of paper and use Vizcom to render it into a product concept image. Vizcom takes a hand-drawn sketch and renders it into a photorealistic product concept. It is built specifically for engineers and industrial design. So it understands mechanical shapes, textures, materials, and lighting in a way a general image generator does not. Your sketch goes in and a studio level render comes out in seconds. So let's get started. I'm going to be choosing the default project. And here let's upload our image. This is a very simple pen and paper sketch of our product HydroSync, which has all the necessary details like the cap, the shapes, and the LED light placements. So here I'm going to choose plus, and out of these blocks I'm going to be choosing render to render a final image. And for the prompt, here it is. Try to keep your prompts as specific as possible to get better results. And here over in properties, we can choose what style we want the render to be. I'm going to be choosing realistic product and 100% realistic. We can also choose how much our drawing must influence the final product. Let's keep it as 100 and then generate. Here is where Vizcom is useful. We do not need to be spending time learning any complex software like CAD or Autodesk. It also reduces the amount of time taken for these initial ideation stages. Here, as we can see, Vizcom is generating the model as we speak. Another interesting thing about Vizcom is that it does not deviate from our original drawing. It doesn't hallucinate any new details or anything. So our render still resembles our initial sketch. And here we go, here is the render. And right now we can export it and use it for further development processes. We can choose which asset to export and what format and the scaling too. Now that we have an idea of what we want our bottle to look like, let's start making it physical. Stage 3 of a product lifecycle is going to be prototyping. We have the research and we have the render. Now we need a physical model. something we can actually hold, feel, review the form factor and iterate on. This is where Meshy comes in. Meshy generates 3D models from a text prompt and exports them as STL or OBJ files. The exact file formats you send to a 3D printer or import into CAD software. So the output isn't just visual, it is purely functional. It goes straight into your product workflow. So let's get started. Here you can upload an image or use text. I'm going to choose to upload an image and then use the render we just made using Vizflow. Let's click generate. And here we can see the generation has already started. And here we can choose the AI model and image enhancement and other settings too. Here is what is unique about Meshy. For engineering students like us with access to a 3D printer, this removes the CAD bottleneck for early stage prototypes. We do not need to do any detailed engineering drawings here. We are generating a form model just from text and images. We can review proportions, ergonomics and design before committing to detailed CAD work which can take hours of our time. We have got a physical prototype. And here we go, the render is complete. There we go. Here we can also change the texture using the AI tools available here. Now that we have a prototype, let's move on to the last stage, which is the app for our smart bottle. Now we are at the final stage of our product lifecycle, which is the companion app. HydroSync is a smart water bottle, which means it needs a mobile application with hydration tracking, temperature display, reminders, etc. The hardware is sorted. Now we need to prototype the software side, and that's what Uizard is for. It generates fully clickable app prototypes from a text description. Not mere mock-up images, but actual interactive screens with navigation you can tap through like a real application. It handles the layout, the UI components, the buttons, the user flow, the UX, everything, all from a single prompt. No Figma needed and no design experience either. So let's get started. Let's click on generate with Auto Designer. And I'm going to choose mobile, and as for the prompt, here it is, and let's click on continue. It's going to ask us for a style. Let's use dark and click on generate my project, and immediately Uizard is going to start generating a wireframe of our application. This is where it is useful. For software and embedded system projects, we can easily demonstrate the user-facing side of a product before writing a single line of any application code. It is also exactly what we can use in a hackathon or in a project proposal or anywhere where we need to show rather than to functionally explain. And this is where Uizard is very helpful. Now let's wait for the project to get completed. And here we go. Uizard has generated us a design proposal along with additional features too. Let's click on preview and then click through the actual application. I can tap through this like a real app right now. Every screen is interactive and every button is connected somewhere. Here we can see our hydration plans. Here we can see which buttons are actually functional and what each screen holds. And that completes the full HydroSync build. So that's the full product lifecycle. Elicit for research, Vizcom for design, Meshy for prototyping, and Uizard for the app. What I think this demonstrates for the AI Immersion Task is that the most powerful way to use these tools isn't in isolation. It is sequentially, where the output of one feeds into the next. The research informed the material choice shaped the design, and the design became a prototype, and the prototype got an application. All four tools are free to start with. Thanks for watching.